Today we're going to make a potato frittata. Frittatas are kind of like open-faced omelets. For this frittata, we're going to be using potato. We want 1/2 inch cubes for this. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut off a little wedge and we're going to stand it up so that it doesn't roll around. It'll stay pretty stable, steady. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut thick pieces. This potato is a waxy type potato. You do not want to use the brown russet potatoes in this recipe because they'll fall apart when they're being cooked. The waxy types are the red and the yellow type potatoes that you find in the grocery store. They'll hold up a lot better. What we're going to do now is we're going to just stack a couple of them on top of each other, and we're going to do the same thing. And then we're just going to take this stack and we're going to do again about 1/2 inch pieces. The next thing we're going to chop is an onion. To chop an onion, let's look at the onion first. You've got a root end, has the roots coming out of it, and you have, this is the blossom end. So this is where the plant would come out of because an onion is a bulb. The way to cut an onion, we're going to cut the blossom end off. You're going to take this cut end, you're going to put it down on your cutting board, and you're going to put your knife right in the center of the root end. Very carefully and with a sharp knife, cut the bulb in half. And everything's being held together by this root end. If you look at the onion, you'll see that there is this piece here that holds all of the layers together. If you cut this off, all of your layers are going to be sliding everywhere and you won't be able to cut it as easily. So we're going to come back up here and we're going to begin peeling this papery skin off. So the way to make a chopped onion is the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our knife. You're going to point the flat end, the end you cut off, toward your body, the root end away from you, and you're going to begin slicing into the onion. And your knife isn't going to go all the way through. See, I've got my tip of my knife here. I don't want to cut all the way through to that root end. So I've got sort of a fan cut going on. I could do one of two things here. I can just go ahead and chop, or you can take a slice or two through that end of the onion that will give you some further cuts. What you're going to want to do now, you again have this root end holding everything together, but you want to kind of brace the onion with your fingers and then start cutting across the front. And then you have these chopped onions. And then you have this bit of the root end and you can just throw this away. Some of these pieces are a little bigger because I didn't make several cuts into the front of the onion. If I wanted, really more precise cuts, I could have done 1, 2, 3, 4 cuts. The finer you want your chop, the closer together your knife cuts are going to be. Finally, we're going to chop some parsley. Parsley or fresh herbs are optional in this recipe, but it really does give it a nice pop and color. So we're using a fresh flat leaf parsley. You could use any other kind of herb that you like. Basil works nice, oregano, thyme works really well. Herbs that have green ends, the flavor is a lot stronger in the stems than it is the leaves, and it can be a little bit overpowering. So for this recipe, I'm actually going to take the stems off, and I'm just going to do that by twisting the stems off so we have mostly leaves. Super easy way to cut fresh herbs like parsley is to take the bunch in your hand, fold it in half so you have kind of a tight bundle, and just begin to make really close cuts. And then we're going to just go this way. So same thing, hold the tip of the knife down on the board. Just come down like that. For this frittata, we're going to use 6 eggs. And you see I have them in the bowl here. This is a really good time to add whatever flavor you want to the eggs. We're just going to do some salt. You definitely always want to add salt. Some pepper. You can add garlic powder if you want in here. We're going to put a couple of tablespoons of Parmesan cheese in here as well. Dry herbs. This is a good time to add dry herbs. Thyme is a really good one with this. And then we're just going to whisk it. And we're going to whisk until mixed, until this is just like making scrambled eggs. So to a large skillet, we're going to add some olive oil. You could use butter or any other kind of oil that you have as well. We just need something to cook our vegetables in. We're going to add our potatoes. Cook the potatoes until they start to get tender. And you can check by taking a fork and piercing the potato. If it gives you a lot of resistance, it still needs to cook more. But if it's starting to soften, the fork will go in a little more easily. We're going to add our onion here. And we're going to stir it to get that onion coated in the oil, just as we did with the potato. If your potatoes are still a little bit firm and you put a lid on the pan and turn the heat down a little bit, the steam will carry them over and cook them until they're softer. All right, we've got the vegetables to the point where they are tender. What we're going to do now is we're going to kind of spread them evenly throughout the pan. We're going to reduce the heat down to medium. And then we're going to take the egg mixture that we had and we're going to spread it throughout the whole pan and pretty much cover everything. The egg is going to cover all of the vegetables. As the egg starts to set, one of the things that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to make sure that all of the egg is cooking. So one way we can help even out the cooking is to take a thin spatula. You can see right here the edges are starting to set. What we're going to do is we're going to pull this forward a little bit, tilt the pan, and we're going to let some egg run under there so that it touches the pan. We want to get to the point where it's really not much liquid on the top at all. So you can think about other things that you might want to add. Spinach is really fabulous in this. Any kind of greens, fresh herbs, bell peppers, they all work really well. Zucchini. At this point, you could do one of two things. You can either put it in the oven under a broiler until the top sets, or you can finish it in the pan. You're going to take a large dinner plate and put it on top of the frittata. We're going to put a little bit more oil in the pan. And then we're just going to slide it right back in to get it cooked on the other side. We're going to sprinkle with some salt and some pepper and probably a little bit more of the Parmesan. Sprinkle some fresh parsley on it. And then we'll put it on a plate and we can cut it into wedges to serve.